Okay, but what, okay, and you see how that coffin bone sits there, and you see where on this horse the apex of the frog, well, the true apex, if we'd have trimmed that away, would have been right about here. Okay, so, but that's not the way it was on this horse here. What happened was, okay, first of all, I'm going to show you, okay, now this is the other side of her hoof, but I cut this part off. It was just like the other side. The hairline went up like that. Okay, see, like that. This side was like that too, but just as an experiment, I cut this off to where it should have been. Okay, now I want you to look at that bar. Woohoo! Imagine that thing sticking up into your foot right there. Okay, so, you know, you've heard that you shouldn't trim bars. Well, I'm going to show you right here. Hopefully I can convince you right here why you should trim bars. Because, see, what happened to this mare was that gradually over time, her bars did not get trimmed. And what happened was they grew out and they laid over. You can see where the bar here has grown up and laid over on the sole here. And it's kind of cracked right here. Now, with the horse standing on that, the bar still keeps growing, but it has nowhere to grow to come out of the foot. So what does it do? It starts getting jammed and impacted up into the foot. Now, she actually had 2 sets of bars, and I'll show you what happens. I'll explain that more in a minute. So, what happens is, the bar is overgrowing here. See this bar laid over here too, like that. And so it's almost like it's just bent over right here. And so the bar doesn't quit growing, all right? It starts growing up into the foot. This is her frog right here. And this is the way it starts growing. Instead of having a nice, you know, smooth, rounded area right here, look what she had growing up into her foot. Right there. Big point. Again, look at the difference. See there? Oh, there we go. There's a good way for you to get an idea of what that bar did. Okay, this wasn't some grass laminitis episode that happened over a month's time. This was gradual mechanical failure of the foot due to the bars not being trimmed. And where is it here? On one of these feet. Okay, you see that right there? Do you know what that is? That's a nail hole. Because this mare was shod at some point, not too long before this. And so this shows, okay, that she had been getting foot care. Okay? But obviously the farrier that trimmed her feet didn't understand about how these hoof walls can jam up like this, and slowly the bar grows up and jams up, and the result is this. Okay, let's see if I can explain it. Okay, here's normal foot. Okay, let's say I don't trim the bars on this horse. They grow out, they lay over, and the bar can't grow out of the foot. Okay, and also the wall here gets loaded because gets loaded and it's not being trimmed off correctly. Okay, what happens is the wall here that should be at a slant like this, it starts getting jammed up and pushing up this way. As well, the bar is growing and pushing up into the foot. And gradually, as the wall starts jamming up, okay, there's a whole back of the foot right here. Gradually, it starts lifting the back of the foot up. See, say the foot is like this. Because this wall back here is jamming up and the bar is growing up, it starts gradually just lifting the back of that foot up slowly. Well, as it starts lifting the back of this foot up here, okay, it starts pulling away from the wall right here. Now you've got a situation where the back of the foot is being jammed and lifted up internally. This foot right here being lifted up like that. And yet the horse is standing and walking, and there's pressure on the toe, pulling the toe. And so what happens is this. Eventually, just exactly what happened here. The internal foot here eventually got stretched and pulled back and lifted up to where it was just like that. Okay? And held there by this wall here and by this embedded bar. And so the horse had that thing pushing up into its foot in the back. In fact, my dog stole the coffin bone that went to this foot. But I can tell you right now that there was remodeling on the bottom of, there was like a ledge worn into the foot, into the coffin bone right here from this bar sticking up in the foot. Let me see. Okay, this one's even worse. Now what happened? Now this is very interesting. Not only did it eventually lift the foot up, it lifted the foot up and disconnected it from the sole here. Now, if you look on the inside of here, she had sole on the other foot, which I wish I still had. There was sole growing here. Okay, it was disconnected from this part of the sole, and there was another sole growing on the bottom of the foot. And if you look right here, you see this right here? You see how far her foot was lifted up. It was lifted and stressed so hard that it separated the sole corium from the sole of the hoof capsule. And she was actually growing another sole on the coffin bone. And you can see that sole right here. See this? Right here, that is part of the sole that was growing on the foot. Let me see. Okay, you can see it in this one too. Just a second. Yeah, too dark. Okay, you can see it. See those flakes in there? See those flakes right there? That's another sole that was growing. Okay. Yeah, the walls have been jammed so bad, and the bars, it had forced the internal foot off this sole here, and the foot itself was growing another sole inside the hoof capsule. Now here you can see she had 2 sets of bars. It had also separated her bars from the bars on this hoof capsule. And she had 2 sets of bars. Can you see them? There's one set here, and there was another set growing here. See there? Okay, and here again, look at that. Okay?